What's good, y'all? It's your boy HB with Final Round and Drive Time. We got a big matchup coming up. Terrence Crawford versus Shawn Porter. Now, I got to be honest with y'all. I'm not that excited for this fight. Now, in a way, I still want to see it because it's Terrence Crawford. I like Terrence Crawford. He's one of the pound-for-pound best fighters in the world. I love what he's doing. I'm a huge fan. And I'm going to watch all of his fights, right? No matter who he's going up against. And, honestly, I think he could be on top of that pound for pound list, but the resume is just not there compared to Canelo, but the abilities are. And if he can stack up that resume, which will be very difficult for him to do, then I would put him on top of that list. Now, obviously, in terms of being, a big pay-per-view attraction in terms of like Canelo, I mean, that's hard, man, because Canelo's bringing the whole country of Mexico behind him, which has a huge fucking boxing fan base, as we all know. And unfortunately, here in the United States, we've kind of lost that along the way. And we're not as consolidated as we used to be. And as you know, this is a melting pot of a country, people coming from all sorts of different backgrounds, races, religions. So the nationality right now in this country is not that great as it was, say, back in the 80s and any time before that. We were a little bit more nationalistic. We were a little bit more supportive of our fighters. And boxing was kind of, I would say more prominent at earlier times. But it seems like that has kind of faded away. And I think it'll be very difficult for Terrence Crawford to kind of have that type of pull in terms of a big fan base. But like I said, if we're just talking about abilities, Terrence Crawford is right there. If he can just get the resume, he'll be on top of that list, in my opinion. But the reason why I'm not that excited for this fight is I want to be careful when I say this because I'm not really a Shawn Porter fan, but I respect the dude a lot. I respect him a shit ton. Because Shawn Porter, he doesn't duck anybody. He doesn't duck anybody. And I think a lot of fans respect that. But he also gets after it. When you see Shawn Porter in a fight, he's fighting. He's fucking fighting. Now, he doesn't fight in a way that I appreciate a lot. It's not a style that I kind of love to watch. It's kind of messy, lots of dirty boxing. And once again, I got to kind of note this because when I say dirty boxing, I don't want people to think he's a dirty fighter or anything like that. Dirty boxing in terms of like, he gets in the clinch a lot. He likes to scuffle. He's very roughneck. He's a roughneck type of fighter. That's what I mean by dirty boxing. That's not my vibe, man. That's not my style I like to watch. I like to watch a good chess match. And, even Shawn Porter, there are times where he can show different aspects of his game, like in small points of different fights. I've seen him fight a little bit off the back foot. I've seen him try to think in there and kind of navigate his way, but it's not clean. It's not clean. So it's hard for me to get excited when I watch Shawn Porter. He doesn't hold my attention when I watch him. And, if you're a casual fan, he might, right? Because you just see a guy always getting after it. And casual fans, you know how casual fans are. And I'm sorry if you're a casual fan and you're watching this. But, casual fans tend to just want to see aggression, right? They just want to see somebody looking for the fight. And totally understandable. And in a sense, that's why this fight could be exciting. But I don't think Shawn Porter is going to be purely aggressive in this fight. I think he knows how great fucking Terrence Crawford, and he's not that type of dude to where you're just going to walk in there and kind of dictate the terms. I think it's a little bit different with Terrence Crawford. But nonetheless, Shawn Porter will get after it. I think he's going to push the pace as much as he can. But I think if he does that, I think a knockout will come. A lot of people are disagreeing with me. And I understand why, because Terrence Crawford, or Shawn Porter, if I'm not mistaken, has never been knocked out. I don't even know if I think he's been knocked down, but not knocked out. And I don't think he's going to be an easy dude to knock out. But I think Terrence Crawford is going to want to make a statement. I think he has the ability to knock him out. And I think stylistically, it's going to favor him to kind of use that aggression that Shawn Porter likes to have and walk him into something, walk him into a trap. And it might start slow, but I can definitely see a knockout coming in the later rounds. To me, there's not much to talk about here in terms of who's going to win. I know who's going to win. It's just a matter of how he's going to win. But I really do believe that Terrence Crawford will probably knock out Shawn Porter, at the very least TKO him. So I'm going to be watching nonetheless. But once again, not too excited. Not too excited. But I do have lots of respect for Shawn Porter. And I know he's in the fraternity of football players that are that made the transition to boxing. As you know, well, if you don't know me, now you know. I come from a football background. I played college football at the University of Central Florida. That was my first love, man. And, you know, that kind of physical background helped lead me to boxing. And I can see why Shawn Porter is very aggressive and why he has that rugged, roughneck type style. Because, I mean, in football, we all know how it is. It's a very physical game, and it's a very rugged, rough game. So I totally get why he's the way he is. But, you know, for me, it's kind of funny because I was a very physical football player at the time. And I came into boxing kind of bringing that into or implementing that type of style when I first came in. You know, same thing as Shawn Porter, very rugged, very roughnecked. But I was fortunate to have a trainer that was very skilled, you know, a little bit more flamboyant in terms of being a very slick boxer. So he kind of imposed that and kind of influenced me a lot to kind of go that way, even though I started off with that type of rough style. And so I totally get why Shawn Porter is the way he is. And but it's not my favorite style to watch. It's just not, because it's very messy. And I'll say this, you know, Shawn Porter being what he is, those are the type of fighters that are very difficult to deal with. I'm not going to say he's like very awkward, but he kind of is, because I think his timing is a little bit off. You know, he has that, I guess you can say, awkward timing and rhythm. And when you're a very awkward fighter and there's not really a cadence to your timing and rhythm, it can make it very messy, you know, even for a very good fighter to get you out of there or even to beat you. Who's a good example? Damn, I know this guy faced Pacquiao and just he won a bogus decision over Pacquiao. This white, I think he's from he was like South African, or maybe he was Australian. I can't believe I can't remember his name, but he won a bogus decision over Pacquiao, and he faced Terrence Crawford as well. I think he got his butt kicked by Terrence Crawford. And it's guys like that are they're very weird to deal with. They're very hard to deal with, especially initially. And even for a very skilled, very good boxer, it can present a lot of problems because you're trying to get that sense of timing down. It's a lot easier to deal with a fighter that's more rhythmic and has a cadence that's kind of, that has a pattern, right? Than it is to kind of deal with those messy type of guys or awkward type of styles. So it will be a little bit hard for Terrence Crawford to kind of get a gauge in the beginning. And we all know Terrence Crawford starts slow. He kind of falls within the camp of like Vasily Lomachenko and Alexander Usyk, and even Mayweather at times. There's times where Mayweather will start slow because obviously these guys share this in common. They're trying to download the program, you know, and it takes them a little bit of time, and they want to see what you have to present and offer. And then when they figure you out, that's when they start implementing their game plan and taking over. And that's Terrence Crawford to a T. Once he figures you out, he starts to take over. And I will say this, you know, Terrence Crawford, I didn't even buy into him initially. You know, I remember seeing the first fight I saw him in was a fucking iconic fight with Yuriorkis Gamboa. That fight was fucking phenomenal. It was amazing. And I had a lot of questions for Terrence Crawford because when I first saw him that was the first time I saw him, he got checked. He got chin checked a few times. In my opinion, he got wobbled a few times in that fight. You know, but what's so badass about Terrence Crawford, he's the type of motherfucker, you rock him, he's like a rattlesnake, man. You hit him, he bites back. He'll bite down on that mouthpiece and he'll start firing back, and he almost scraps all his boxing technique and fundamentals, and he'll throw down and brawl. And that's what's pretty cool about Terrence Crawford. He does everything, including brawling. And if you hit him or you touch him up or you piss him off, ooh, he gets after it. He becomes a scary dude. So, and I think that could make it interesting, right? Because we know how Sean Porter is. He's going to get after it. He's going to press the action. And I do think he will land a few shots here and there. And if he hits Terrence Crawford might be game to throw down. But I think eventually Terrence Crawford will pick up on that awkward style. He'll get the timing down and he'll knock Sean Porter out. Like I said, I can't believe I forgot this fighter's name. Very awkward, but eventually Terrence Crawford figured him out and started piecing him up. And I think it'll be the same thing, you know, another awkward style. And you know, Terrence Crawford will settle the fight down. He'll take over and he'll get him out. But yeah, you guys, I mean, first off, if anybody knows, comment below. The guy I'm talking about, please comment below and say his name. I want to remember his name. I feel ashamed that I don't. But please tell me who that fighter is if anybody knows who I'm talking about. And yeah, comment below, like the video, subscribe, you guys. Tell me what you think about this fight. Are you excited about it? Maybe you can convince me otherwise. Maybe you can convince me that Sean Porter stands a fucking chance. I don't think he stands any chance to win. I think he's going to lose. And this also has to be noted. Even though I believe Sean Porter is going to give it his best effort, he's going to be all in. It's just something about when you're kind of commentating on the side and you have this other job going on and you're boxing at the same time, right? Because we've seen Sean Porter on commenting on a lot of fights. That's a job, man. That's a fucking job in itself. It takes work. And, you know, when any sort of athletes, whether it be in football, basketball, you know, combat sports like UFC and boxing, you know, there's a reason why once guys get jobs like that, they tend to be on the way out, you know, and why guys pretty much move on to that part of their career, move on and leave boxing behind, or whatever sport it may be. You know, I remember when Tony Romo for the Dallas Cowboys, ex-quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, got a job offer. I don't know if it was CBS, ABC, or whatever, Fox Sports, whoever, with one of those big broadcast networks. He was done with football. He was done. And he got paid very well, and he had no interest in playing football again. And same thing, I see a lot of UFC fighters doing this commentating gig, and some of them can maintain it. Like Daniel Cormier did fairly well as he was doing his broadcast, but he was kind of on his way out. And I do feel like, yes, there are some fighters that can kind of manage both. I still think a piece of you is not going to be all there the way you need to be, especially in a sport like combat or combat sports. It's important that you're just completely focused on what you're doing and committed to it. I'm not saying Sean Porter ain't committed to his boxing gig, right? But, and I think he's gonna go in there. He's gonna give his best. But to me, I just always question when a fighter or athlete kind of starts that other side, the back, you know, his new career. Is he all there? You know, is he gonna be there 100%? And I tend to say no. And I've seen some UFC fighters kind of fall out in the sport when they started that commentating gig, and you know, they kind of looking to make that transition. So we'll see. But once again, you guys comment down below. Tell me what you think. Like the video. Subscribe. It's your boy HBZ. Hit me up.